Is the lighting design bright enough? What if it's too dim? Many people struggle with this issue during renovations, especially when faced with all the choices of lamp wattage, color temperature, and power. They just feel uncertain. Actually, this kind of uncertainty is very common, but it can also directly affect the outcome of your renovation and your living experience. So, is there any room or area in your home where the lighting makes you feel particularly uncomfortable? In fact, brightness alone isn't the only standard for judging whether a lighting design is good or not. Truly excellent lighting design focuses on the sense of layering in the light. And the atmosphere of the space is not simply a matter of the brighter. A space that's too bright can feel very oppressive, while one that's too dim can directly affect the convenience of daily life. So rather than obsessing over whether it's bright enough, it's better to focus on how to make the brightness in each area just right. So, is your ideal lighting atmosphere warm and gentle or bright and clear? Many people think that installing more high wattage lights will definitely make the space bright enough, but such a design can often make the space feel rigid and lifeless, lacking warmth. For example, why not choose a suitable indirect light source for the bedroom or living room? Using soft, diffused lighting to fill the space will be more comfortable than relying on a single high-powered main light. Is there any type of light that you find particularly uncomfortable? Different areas require different types of lighting to meet their specific needs. For example, in the kitchen, you need brighter task lighting, while in the dining room, a warm pendant light helps create a cozy atmosphere. By using layered lighting design, combining main lights, task lights, and ambient lights, you can ensure the space is neither too dim nor too harsh on the eyes. If you're not sure about the lighting requirements for different spaces, I suggest you refer to our Illuminance calculation toolkit. It includes the National Architectural Lighting Design Standards as well as files for Illuminance calculation formulas. It helps you quickly determine the optimal illuminance range for spaces like the living room, bedroom, study, and so on, so you can easily solve the problem of insufficient brightness. Now let's take a look at what's included in this toolkit and how to use it. The first item is the Illuminance calculation spreadsheet. So what's in this spreadsheet? Here you have formulas, including the formula for luminous flux. The actual calculation is done here. The first step is to calculate based on illuminance. All the formulas are already set up for you. All you need to change is, for example, the area of each space when calculating the number of fixtures based on illuminance. Then you can figure out how many fixtures you need. For example, if my living room is 25 square meters, how many downlights do I need? The design here specifies 16. If, for instance, my space is 30 square meters, how many would I need? That would be 20 fixtures. The parameters here, such as the utilization factor and maintenance factor, are all preset in the design. The luminous flux used here is for a standard single downlight, which is about a 7-watt downlight. So that means if your living room is 30 square meters and you're using 7-watt downlights, you'll need 20 of them. Only with downlights will it be bright enough. If you're using ceiling lights, then you'll need to adjust these parameters. The same applies to other spaces as well. You just need to enter the area. Our target illuminance is actually set a bit higher than the National Architectural Lighting Standards. Here is the Architectural Lighting Design Standard, and we can scroll down to see the illuminance requirements for each space. For example, you can see requirements for guest rooms, bedrooms, hospital wards, bars, and so on. Its color temperature should be less than 3300 Kelvin. That's why I recommend that in homes like living rooms and bedrooms, you use a color temperature of 3500 or 3000 Kelvin. If you look further down, it says for rooms or places where people work or stay long, the color temperature should not exceed 4000 Kelvin. So in home spaces, it shouldn't be higher than 4000 Kelvin, as it would be uncomfortable. Next, let's look at illuminance. For general activity areas in the kitchen, the illuminance is 100 lux for living rooms. It's also 100, and for our bedrooms, it's generally 75, while the bathroom is 100. We set these values based on this standard, and sometimes we even set them a bit higher to ensure you have sufficient brightness. Then for the next part, you can calculate the illuminance based on the lighting fixtures. For example, if your renovation company or a free designer has already designed a lighting plan for you, it shows how many lights are used inside, so you can estimate the approximate illuminance. These two tables are used together. This one is for calculating the total luminous flux in your space. For example, if the design includes a 10-meter reflective light trough, you just enter 10 meters, and if there's no main light trough, you leave it blank. Then there are downlights and spotlights. For example, if the design includes 10 pendant lights and 2 of them are actually installed and there is 1 decorative light, then you've accounted for all the lights in your space. The total luminous flux there is 13,950, and that value will be entered here. So your space's total luminous flux is this amount. You need to consider your area. For example, if your master bedroom is 20 square meters, then the final illuminance here has already reached 446, which is much higher than the lighting standard. So it's too bright and there's no need to use so many lights. We can reduce the number of downlights and just use 2 spotlights. Use 1 chandelier and then use 5 meters of light strip. Okay, the illuminance drops a lot, now it's just over 300. Even so, it's still higher than the standard, so at this point you can go back and reconsider how to adjust your lighting. This is the illuminance calculation table. Next, we also have this pitfall avoidance guide. So what are some common pitfalls people easily fall into? For example, there are pitfalls that are easy to encounter during the design phase, and then there are fatal mistakes that can happen during the carpentry phase and so on, right? There are quite a few of these common pitfalls to watch out for. We've also organized some tables for downlights and spotlights, listing the different types of fixtures, their specifications, approximate prices, and various brands. With this, you can make your selections and complete the lighting plan for your home. With this toolkit, you'll have everything you need. If after doing the calculations, you're still worried that your lighting plan might be too dim, you can choose some smart dimmable fixtures to adjust the brightness for different scenarios. But if you don't want to install a smart lighting system, you can add some flexible supplementary light sources, such as floor lamps, wall lamps, or desk lamps. These options are both attractive and practical, and they can provide additional lighting as needed. Imagine this scene. When you come home and turn on the ambient lights in your living room, the soft light gently falls on the sofa and bookshelf, making the whole space feel warm and relaxing. In contrast, in an overlit space, harsh lighting makes it impossible for you to calm down. That's why good lighting design is like the melody of music. Both brightness and atmosphere need to be balanced in the right places. So do you feel that your current home has too little warm light or too much bright light? In fact, the core of lighting design isn't about making things as bright as possible, but about achieving just the right amount of brightness. If you're still worried that your design plan isn't bright enough, try focusing on the layout, layering, and flexibility of your light sources, and then use scientific illuminance calculations to verify your brightness. Let the lighting in every corner serve your daily life. If you still have questions, you can first check whether the lighting in your home comes from a single source, is excessively bright, has sharp shadows, or other similar issues. Alternatively, you can consult a professional designer. They can provide you with the most suitable advice so that your home is not just about brightness, but also filled with warmth.
I'm Lucas, someone who is extremely passionate about perfecting lighting.